Good morning. Welcome to the Inside Job Podcast, Healed Inside Out. This morning we have Miss Beautiful Breonna Mahana. You know, got to use the sound effect.
I love it.
Otherwise, I'm not utilizing my investment.
Right.
I'm going to push every last one of these buttons at some point in my life. Bree is joining us this morning. She is the wife of Mr. Kelly Mahana, who was on just not too long ago. They are owners of Authentic Recovery Homes. They now have 3 homes now, right?
Yes.
Yes. When Kelly was on, they only had 2, but they was moving on that 3rd one, and it is now open.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Yeah. And so, we've talked just briefly, and, as with anybody else, we've all been through some things and everything. So, I'm just going to let you have the reins, just kind of share what it's like having these recovery homes and, life hidden and how you're handling and dealing with, our own stuff, dealing with like how life hits and, just leave some tips and nuggets on, how you're moving in it, and let's go.
Okay. Where would you like me to start?
Let's talk about the recovery home. So I know Kelly mentioned, obviously how he started. His story is a little different.
Right.
How long have you guys been married?
So we got married last June 14th. So we've been married for a full year now. Just celebrated our anniversary.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you. And then in total, we've been together for 3 years.
Okay, for 3 years. Okay. Yes. So you met him coming out when he was close to coming out. Okay.
Yes. So we met in October, November of 2019.
Okay.
We both worked at Taco Bell. I was his manager.
Okay.
And we were both actually in community corrections when we met.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we were both, coming out of the system, trying to get our life together.
Yeah. Okay, awesome. Okay. And then so, without going too deep into it, were you recovering as well?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So then it just fits. It's just fitting that you both came through that system like that and both have recovered. And congratulations on that, because sometimes that's a tough road for some folks, It
is.
Yeah, and then recovery of it, I don't, I've not had the experience myself, but I've been around many people where there's, like relapses, and they kind of have, what do they call the setbacks or whatever they call it?
Yeah, it's a relapse.
It's a relapse, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's tough.
It is.
It's tough on them. And so for you both to be successful the way that you are, that's a blessing.
Yeah, it definitely
that's
is.
That's a blessing. So what helped you to overcome? And
my addiction began when I was 12. I suffered a lot of very immediate, close family deaths and didn't know how to properly grieve, handle my emotions.
Yeah.
And I just knew I didn't want to feel that way. Yeah. So I started popping opiates, like pills, right? Oxycontin was big back then.
Okay.
Tramadol, Opana, you name it, I took it. So I, didn't remember what it was like to be sober, since I was, 12.
Wow.
And that's hard. So I really didn't understand what sobriety was. Mm-hmm. I wasn't aware of the sobriety community, the recovery community. I had never heard of AA, NA. So this community that we're involved with now, I wasn't aware of it when I came out of a year in county jail.
Okay.
And I just knew that year in county sober was so hard. It was difficult because I was processing these emotions that I didn't know how to process in the first place.
Right.
Which is what triggered my addiction. And I just knew I didn't want to die, right? Because in 2017, I got really sick. I got pneumococcal pneumonia, had my right lung removed. So I have serious health issues from my addiction, and I just knew I didn't want to die. And I didn't want to be on the streets. I didn't want to live in a tent anymore. And I wanted a life. I just didn't know what that looked like, and I didn't know how to get there. And one thing my mom instilled in me was work hard. Work hard.
That part.
Yes, and you'll always have income, right? Unfortunately, she taught me how to work hard in fast food because that's all she knew, right?
Yeah. No knocks.
Right, so that's what I did. And, I just worked. I worked myself into sobriety, essentially.
Oh.
Right.
Okay.
I just was working so much, I didn't have time to focus on anything else.
Yeah.
So it's not, I had an epiphany or it wasn't this moment of, all knowing. I was just like, I don't want to go back to that position.
Yeah.
And I will work myself to death to not be back in that, in those circumstances.
Yeah, and you know what? Give yourself credit, too, because you also had the will.
Right.
Because people can work.
Right.
And then still be on the streets doing their thing. And so without the determination and the dedication that you had within yourself, it would have been a challenge. So, kudos for you too, just having, the will and the desire.
Right.
Because it does take the work. We say it all the time.
Yeah.
People can put it in front of you, can lead a horse to the water, but you can't make them drink.
True.
Definitely having that will and that desire to want and then put forth the action with it, you did that thing.
Thank you.
So congratulations on that.
Thank
congratulations on that. And so inside of working, did you attend any programs or anything like that? No? Just all self-recovery?
Right.
Oh, that is amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So that probably made it that much harder.
It did. Where I was at in community corrections, they didn't have any classes. They didn't.
Oh my goodness.
They didn't have any. There was nothing therapeutic about it.
Wow.
It's an institution like in the real world, right? You're just not locked in a cellar behind bars.
Yes.
So I didn't have the tools, the skills, or the resources. I just had the work ethic at that point.
Yeah. Okay. And thanks, Mom, for instilling that.
Right.
No matter where it was within, it was the principle, it was the skill set.
Yeah.
Oh wow. So how long have you been sober?
I've been sober for 6 years now.
We get one of them.
Right.
We get one of
Thank
them.
you.
Congratulations on that. You guys are going to help so many people. Your story is so rich and so powerful. And to have even more, I know with Kelly, he did say he had some assistance, some programs and things like that. He had some people kind of on his team. But then when you hear your side of your story, your journey, it's different from him, but yet you're still at this successful place.
Right.
So I think that goes to show, it could go both ways depending on your drive.
Right. And what I didn't mention in there is when Kelly and I met, all the skills and tools that he was learning and all these nuggets that he picked up, he took me under his wing when we were friends, right?
That's good.
And we became really, really, really close, obviously. Right? We're married now. That's my husband. So when I was going through my journey, and we were in 2 different places, his insight and wisdom and guidance trickled down onto me.
Oh, that's
so
good.
I have, he's amazing.
Oh, that is so good. Well, I know he gave you nothing but some glamour and glory and praise when he was here. So it sounds like you guys just have a really blessed, powerful union, which is what is going to make that much more powerful for those that you're helping come up, because then they can see the other side. People need to see the other side of it.
Right.
And they need to see the other side of it in a successful form, right? So that'll be good. That'll be good. Do you guys have any plans on opening more, or you guys stop at 3, or what's going to...
Our goal right now is 12.
Oh, wow.
Just in the Denver metro area.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So the goal is 12, and then we plan on taking Authentic to another city that really, really needs it. Because
yes.
what a lot of people don't realize, there's a lot of resources in Colorado. Other states and cities are not as resourceful or kind or forgiving towards people in active addiction. There's a lot of misconceptions, there's a lot of opinions and myths to addiction and recovery. So we are blessed to be in the state of Colorado and in the city of Denver, where there are organizations, nonprofits, treatment centers that want to help, but other cities and states aren't as recovery and addiction friendly per se.
Wow, because you guys, I know it was said that, you don't allow people to come in and continue doing them, but, excuse me, but there is that stigmatism that, people don't want them in there if they've had so much or so, there's a pushback, which leaves them in the street.
Yeah, absolutely. I used to hear all the time, from family members that have never, in my family, I was the only, person on my mom and my dad's side who struggled with addiction, with opiates, anything.
Okay.
And, well, if you just wanted to stop, you could just stop. Yeah. You're doing this to yourself. If you really wanted to, look, you're living on the streets, you're living in a tent, it's not that easy.
Yeah, oh no.
We wouldn't be having, the problem that we're having all around the country right now if it was that easy.
Come on.
Yeah.
And it's not, and that's with anything. That's food addictions, sexual addictions, even when you talk about like abuse, physical abuse.
Yes.
Or even in an emotional or mental abusive relationship, coming out that thing is tough. Unfortunately, I've had the experience of being inside of an abusive relationship, and people do say, like, just leave. But there's fear, it's so much
manipulation.
That plays into that. It is not that easy to just walk away.
Absolutely. Yeah, when in 2017, I ended up going into a coma. Right? I couldn't even when I got admitted to St. Anthony's Amazing Hospital, they saved my life. I couldn't communicate my full name. I couldn't remember my birthday. Like, that's how sick I was. And I was in there for 3 months, lost my right lung, they're like, if you use again, you are going to pass. There's no way you're going to survive. Your body cannot take it. 3 months. 3 months and 10 days after I got the 32 staples removed from my side, that night I was back on the streets with a needle in my arm. Sorry, that was really explicit, but that's the reality.
No. Hey, keep it real.
Yeah.
And ain't no sugarcoating nothing about this, because I think that if you do, you miss the window and opportunity for somebody to really grasp, like, that's where I'm at.
Yeah.
And so, we gonna keep it 100.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, don't hold back nothing.
Okay.
We gonna keep it 100. And so you went back out.
Yes. As soon as I had 32 staples in my side from where they closed me up in the hospital for 3.5 months. And that night, I was like, okay, I don't have any more of the Dilaudid they gave me at the hospital for the pain, major surgery, right? So I was in withdrawals already. Withdrawals, it's like your body is shutting down, but you're still alive, right?
Yeah.
Excruciating pain, chills.
Wow.
You just want to just crawl into a shell and just say, take me out. That's how bad it is. Wow. So I got on a Kindle that I had because I didn't have a phone. I hit up the person I gave my entire backpack to, my ID, all my stuff in it, because when you're on the streets, your life's out of a backpack, if you're lucky. I said, come and get me. Here's my aunt's address, a really, really nice house in Parker. It's not like I didn't have places to go.
Oh, okay.
My mom had a place. My aunt had a place. I have family in, Georgia. I have family back in Ohio. I had multiple places to go. But because of my addiction, the only place I wanted to be was where the drugs were.
Yeah.
So I said, come get me. Have a shot of heroin waiting for me. When I get in the car, I grabbed a duffel bag. I snuck out into the driveway, hit it 10 minutes before they got there, because my family was like, listen, you can't even shower by yourself. You can't even walk. Like, you just had a massive surgery. You almost died.
Yeah.
So I waited until everybody was asleep, ran out and got in the car and had my arm tied off and had a needle in my arm that night. Like, that's how serious addiction is.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. Did anything happen after that, or
like as in what?
As from health wise, after you did that again? Did you have any complications again?
I mean, I probably did, but the drugs numb everything out. What I told myself was when I was shooting the meth, because meth and heroin kind of come hand in hand, and this is before the fentanyl really, really hit. Like, heroin was actually a thing, 7-8 years ago.
Okay.
Every time I would do a shot of meth, I could feel it going into my heart, and I would have like these convulsions, right? Because I just had major surgery. I have all these heart problems. I have epilepsy on top of that, and I could feel it. Like, it was, I don't even know how to explain it. You can feel something entering your internal organs and causing you serious pain. So the addict in me was like, oh, well, if I just smoke it, I'll be fine. Yeah. So I didn't stop. Not at one point did I stop. I was like, okay, let me just do it another way. So it's not going intravenous.
Method.
Right. But that lasted for like 6-7 months.
Okay.
And then I eventually got, arrested, and then that's when I did my hair.
Okay.
And then I was like walking around the pod. I couldn't breathe. I was feeling all my, my heart. Now I have these random shocks in my heart, I'm like, oh my gosh, like I have destroyed, like when you get some time under your belt after these very serious life-changing situations, the reality sets in, right? You don't have an escape. You don't have these substances to drown out, your life for the past 10 years. You're stuck and you're sitting with you.
Yes.
You and your thoughts and all the terrible, bad things that you've experienced and gone through and the harm that you've caused other people, right? And so that year is when I was like, oh my gosh, I've done this. I've stolen from my, 13-year-old brother. I stole from my sister.
Wow.
My mom used to sleep with her purse and her keys under her pillow when she was asleep, because I used to steal her car. I used to steal her debit cards, right? So all these things, it's like when you're it's like there's like a cloud or like wool over your eyes.
Wow.
So you're doing these things, but you're not realizing the severity of your actions.
Yes.
So when you get that sobriety, everything starts crashing down on you. These memories start coming back. And I'm like, wow, my family has stood by me this whole time.
Well, thank God.
Right.
Yes.
And I'm very, very blessed for that, because
Yes.
a lot, 90% of the people that I know, their families have exiled them. They're like, oh, no, we can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
You're destroying what we have.
Yes.
And there's nothing we can do to help you.
Yeah.
So, you can live in whatever chaos you're going to live in, but we can't talk to you. We can't communicate with you. You can't come to the house. Don't come by. Don't call us.
Yeah.
But my family, bless their heart, they stood by my side. And, I would talk to my family every day, when I was incarcerated, because they put money on my books. They answered my phone calls.
Yes.
So I went through that year of forced sobriety. Thank you, Jesus, for that, because without that, I wouldn't have came to the realizations that I came to. You know what I mean? Yes.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. So that's when that process really began for me.
For you.
And I do still have a lot of terrible health situations that I have to deal with. I look normal on the outside, but
you look beautiful.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Very beautiful.
If you could see the inside of me, I have destroyed my body, and I'm still dealing with those health issues to this day, and I will for the rest of my life.
You will for the rest of your life.
Yes.
But one thing to keep, at the front and center is who was there for you when you was incarcerated, your Lord and Savior.
Yes.
He's going to be there for you right now and continuously until it's time to come and get you.
Yes.
And so you won't be doing it by yourself. So just always make sure you keep that in the front. And you know what? A lot of people do get eliminated, from the families and stuff like that, when really what is needed is love. So I think that the love from your family is what also helps you, to kind of get on the track of recovery. Sometimes we have to bump our head a few times and whatnot, but without having, that solid love and that genuine love, it's harder.
Yes.
It's harder. So I can't imagine what it's like for those who don't have family or whose family has, ostracized them, just kind of pushed them out and was like, yeah, no. And I get it. You can understand, Breeze coming home, everybody put up your purse, everybody hide your wallet, hide your phones because she could still, take it from you. That's a real thing, so it's a real thing for the families as well. But I think that, again, that love that they have and that's a different kind of love. That's that agape love.
Right.
And that's that unconditional love. You know what I'm saying? That's that love that God loves us with.
Yes.
So you have definitely been blessed. You may have some aches and pains and some health issues, but for the time that He's allowed you to remain here, look what you're doing with that time. You know what I'm saying? So that is to be acknowledged. You know what I'm saying? And that's to be honored.
Thank you.
Because you don't have to be sitting here next to me. You could be sitting, somewhere under a tree or something, or, in a tent, as you were, doing something else.
Yeah.
So you've turned that bad into good.
Yes.
With some major assistance. So be so proud of yourself for that. Oh, wow. So then in your programs, in your homes, do you guys, so the things that you wish you would have had then, the resources and all of those things, you guys offer all of that in your homes, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you have counselors?
So not yet. We are in the works of getting care managers, counselors. We partner with other organizations who are top of the line in, IOP, counseling with therapy.
Good.
Community is really important in having a healthy community when you're in recovery. We have an amazing group of guys.
Okay, good.
And they're all really close. Kelly and I, I think it was 2-3 weeks ago, asked guys who wants to go to the Rockies game. Yeah. Like, let's go out into the community together and show that you can be sober, you can have a good time. Yes. This is possible. Yes. And we're going to help you get to that point.
That's good. That's good. That's good. Because I can imagine, just like as you said, it messes up your mental and all of that. Not to mention, society doesn't really welcome you back in with open arms. So you're trying to get a job. It's probably challenging, when you've been down that road. And even when you've been incarcerated, there are some places that, do. But for the most part, it's a challenge.
Yeah, you're starting over from scratch.
Yeah.
In your addiction, it doesn't matter if it's alcohol, meth, fentanyl. You are going to lose everything in all the people that you love like that.
Wow.
It happens so quick. You start, doing it on the weekends. And then, it's a Tuesday and here we are drinking, right? Then you're spending all your money on alcohol, right? You're showing up drunk to work and, mean, you're sloshing around, slurring your words. Yeah. They can't have that. Doesn't matter what industry you're in. Absolutely. Even at a bar.
Absolutely.
You're fired, right? That's where it starts. You lose all your income, and then you have, if you paid your last month's rent, then you have until your lease is up, or they evict you, right? So you're on a timeline, and then you're out on the streets.
Wow.
Okay, your family knows that you've struggled with addiction. They've been stolen from. They've gotten into arguments. They don't understand. They don't know what's going on because most likely they've never struggled with addiction either. They're just trying to love you and figure out how to navigate addiction with you without inflicting harm on themselves by you.
Yeah.
Right? So they don't want you in their home. Now you're on the streets. Now what? Right?
Wow, yeah.
So hopefully you still have insurance. You're able to afford to get into treatment. But then after that, 30, 60, 90 days, okay, you're done with their inpatient. Then what? You don't have a job. Yeah. Hopefully you still have your car. You have the clothes on your back, right? Or the clothes that place gave you.
Right.
If your family's not involved, they're not help. Like, what do you do?
Wow.
Right? So you're literally starting from scratch on top of dealing with everything that the self-destruction you've just inflicted on yourself. Right. So you have to come face to face with yourself and realize that I did this to me. Yes. Now I'm in this situation and I'm all by myself.
Wow.
Wow. So it's hard.
Yeah. And what a scary place to be. I can imagine that's scary.
It is.
I mean, it's scary sometimes getting out the car to walk into the supermarket. I can't imagine, when you're talking about the elements and just people being unkind, that has got to be very scary. Excuse me. A very scary situation. And so when I see, I've always been a kind person. When I used to work downtown, there was a lot of homeless people around there, and there was a couple of them that used to call me angels, and call me an angel, because I would just greet them with a smile. I would say hi. Sometimes I would give them coffee or whatever. A few of them didn't understand why I was being so sweet to them, and they're dirty, and some of them drunk or high or whatever, and didn't understand, like, why are you, and they even asked me, like, why are you talking to us? Like, why say hi? I'm nothing. And I'm like, yeah, you are somebody. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And they just needed some love. And so I developed this relationship or this rapport with a group of them. And I'll never forget one time, another group or another gentleman he was upset. He was not in his right mind. And he was yelling at me because I didn't give him no coffee. And I didn't see him over there. I only had 2 cups for the gentleman. And, he was starting to come at me. And the 2 of the gentlemen that I was buying the coffee for, they protected me.
Yeah.
They was like, oh, you're not going to mess with this one, Yeah. Like, yeah, leave her alone. And, then I was like, hey, don't handle it in violence. I don't want you to get upset. I just prayed, I was just praying, and he eventually turned around and went the other direction. And when I saw him again, I did have a cup of coffee for him, but but they, homelessness, mental health, mental illness, alcoholics, they need love too.
Yeah.
They need love too, and it goes far.
It does.
It was a smile.
Yeah, that's all it takes. Mm-hmm. Treating somebody like they're another human being.
Yes.
People, when they hear my story, I always get, well, you don't look like you've been through these things. Why? Yeah. I wouldn't have assumed, right? Yeah. But that's where you're wrong. You don't know what people have been through.
Look like, ooh.
Yeah, you don't know what their home life, their first family life was like. You don't know what they've been through. You don't know, and you don't need to know.
Come on, pin that.
You don't need to know that I almost died, right? You don't need to know that I have one lung and I've been through these things and suffered, near life, near death experiences, right? You don't need to know these things to be kind and to treat people like they are human.
Absolutely.
I mean, I've been on the streets, and some of these, I think my story is bad. You hear someone else's story. There's 13-year-old, 14-year-old, 15, 17-year-old girls, children who are going through severe abuse at their homes, right? Yes. No one's sticking up for them, so they left, and now they're on the streets, right? You don't know. There's a reason for every person who is on the streets and is in active addiction, no matter what the substance is. There's something that they're running from, and there's a reason behind it. You just don't start, swallowing out your emotions for no reason. Like, there's a motive behind it. Just be kind.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Pin that. That's good. It gives me, again, I've been a kind person, but it does give me a different perspective of seeing it from that lens of saying, it's there for a reason. It happened for a reason. They didn't just wake up and be like, you know what? that bridge right there, that got my name on it.
Right.
You know, so so that, I mean, I'm just sitting here in my head is like, what? It gives me a different perspective of what that looks like. So thank you for sharing that, and I pray that, you know, it's giving others a different perspective, and then, you know, maybe instilling something in their hearts and souls to choose to be kind. You know, no matter what you see, you know, yeah, they're standing on the corner, you know, asking over and over again. And sometimes you'll give it to them and they go straight to the liquor store. So people are like, or straight to the, you know, the drug guy, the dealer.
Yeah.
Um,
You got
it. And then you know, you don't want to contribute to that. You don't want to be a part of it. So I get that too. Like,
Yes.
if I give you this dollar, would you, you know, are you gonna go, you know, smoke it, or are you gonna go get drunk? Because you know, people feel bad. Like, that could be that one hit, be that one that take them out,
Yeah.
and you gave them the dollar.
Yeah.
You know, so I understand it, but it does not mean that you can't be kind. You could tell somebody no without treating them with disrespect and evilness and harshship. You just simply say, no, I don't have nothing today for you, or something like that, and keep it pushing. So I pray that people hear that,
Yeah.
you know, hear that from you, you know, just expressing, you know, you don't know the backstory, and there's always a backstory.
Every time.
Yeah. And how hard it is to come up out that thing.
It's hard. It is not easy.
Yeah. Yeah. So, whoo, man, that's powerful.
Thank you.
That's really powerful. So now, how long were you, like, in a tent? Like, how long were you homeless?
Ooh. Okay. So I moved out here in 2012, and I was still, you know, from 12 years old, I was around 22, 23 when I moved out here. I want to say 6 months. Now, it gets fuzzy. I will admit that, because when you're on these substances,
Yeah.
time and memory is questionable.
Okay.
But I couldn't find pills, so I went to heroin, and that lasted around, I want to say, another 6 months. So from 2015 to 2018, 17, 18.
Okay.
Yeah, because 2017 is when I was still in the streets. I got sick. I was released in March, and then I was, 2017. Yeah, so for 2 years,
Okay.
or a little bit less than that,
Okay.
but around that time frame,
Okay.
which is a long time.
And that is a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a long time. I appreciate your honesty and your transparency.
Of course.
And I pray that I haven't made you, you know, uncomfortable and, you know, kind of asking to share some of that. I do think that hearing others' testimonies is a beginning for someone else to come out and get healing themselves. So I do definitely appreciate your candidness and your transparency.
Of course.
Yeah, that's a long time. You know, I remember when I was a freshman in college, and, you know, this is a little ways back, and we did a study or a program on homelessness. And one of the challenges or one of the assignments that we had was our professor, and we had, you know, security and everything. We went out on the street to see, you know, like, mingle with them, and I had my backpack. My mom didn't want me to do it because, you know, she was like, yeah, no, someone's going to hurt you. You're going to get harmed out there. But we did have, like, a lot of security and things like that. But
Good.
I had my backpack and, you know, my sleeping bag. And I remember sitting up against a brick wall just watching this. And it was so look, let me tell you something. I needed therapy after that. Like, no joke. It freaked me out. It was really scary, and it felt, and I didn't have anything.
Yeah.
They sent us out there. We didn't have, like, water. We didn't have food. We didn't, you know, if you was gonna get up and walk somewhere, but we were just localized, you know, so that they can keep track of us, you know, and keep us safe and protected. But the idea of not being able to, you know, get up and go just be free and just do whatever. Even though I was there, I wasn't locked up, but I wasn't free to do. It was something else. I tell you, I had to use the bathroom, and so then I was sitting up there like, I'm not about to go behind this bush. I mean, I just not. And so I opted to hold on to it, but it was something.
Yeah, it's a challenge. For sure, it's a challenge.
Yeah.
I have I sit and think now where I'm at in life and what I've accomplished. And when my husband and I are driving through wherever downtown, I look at these tents and I'm like, that was me.
Wow.
That was me.
Yeah.
In 101 degree weather in the summer. It gets hot, especially when you're on concrete.
Yeah.
In Colorado winters, in a tent by the Platte River with blankets donated. Now like I said, there's a lot of resources in Denver, especially for homelessness and addiction. So people would donate blankets and socks and hand warmers and toe warmers. And, me and one of my friends shared a dog, right? So we always, just these things. Or, having the Coleman gas. They're like little things that you light, and it's, for heat, essentially.
Okay, those little lantern things.
Yes.
When you take them camping.
Yes, exactly. Just all these memories, sleeping. I fell asleep on concrete and woke up and it was snowing right behind Urban Peak, the spot, because I was young enough to still access their resources. Going to the bathroom, breaking into buildings. I had all throughout downtown. I've been in so many buildings in downtown because I would just, clean myself up. And because I look, the way I look, if I was granted access, I would go in, lie my way in, right? Or break into, buildings at 3 o'clock in the morning because it was cold outside. Or being in, stairwells. Because in these high rises, if you're on the 12th, 13th, 10th, even 5th floor, you're not walking down them stairs. You're going down the elevator. So no one's in those stairwells, right? All these, exactly what you were talking about. I had to find solutions to these issues of survival. And remember, I had numerous places to sleep and to go. And I had a room, I had food, at my mom's, at my aunt's. And where was I? Choosing to be on the streets, right? So all these obstacles that you were talking about, I lived.
Man.
Yeah.
For 2 years.
2 years. Whew.
Wow. My parent company, Two Brown, Two Black, Nasa and I, we collect handbags that people, we buy purses and stuff like that, and they be sitting collecting dust. And so we collect a whole bunch of handbags. We'll go to the Dollar Tree, get a bunch of socks, feminine products, things that we would use if we were at a home or something like that. And we stuff them in these bags, toothpaste, brushes, some smell good lotion and things like that. And then, we'll drive up Colfax or downtown somewhere, just, wherever there is a big need. We see a lot of people. And we just hand them out, and they're so grateful, and I can just see where, I'm going to pick that up because we were doing it. We just don't do it often enough. And I think that is something that is needed and a resource that we could give. They don't owe us anything for that. That's just loving on somebody and just being, just serving and being kind. But I can imagine, now just hearing you talk, the appreciation for some of those things. Because, as a female, just because you live on the street, you're not going to stop your cycle. Your cycle don't stop.
True.
So what? Do you just walk around just, being, unclean or dirty or whatever? Or are you going to take this handbag that has a supply of stuff and, to be able to use it? So that, it's kind of leaving me a little bit in awe because it's serious.
It is. It's
very serious.
Women have, it's dangerous on the streets.
Yeah.
It's so when you're using these substances,
Yeah.
you know, and let's say that you're sick, you're in withdrawal, you know, and somebody offers you something, you don't know what's in that. Like, it is so, like, it's so scary.
Yeah.
And, like, I think now, I can't believe I lived that.
Yeah.
It's just men don't have to face the challenges that a lot of women on the streets face.
Yeah.
And I just want to highlight that. So I'm going to give myself props because I survived through that. And
Yeah, no, that, as you should.
yeah,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah. I mean, because, you know, as I said, you're beautiful, so then you have this pretty woman that's on the street, you know, there are people going to want something else from you.
Yeah.
And so for you to have survived that, you know, when you close your eyes, when you closed your eyes and went to sleep sometimes, you don't know who was plotting or planning to, you know, take something from you. And so you've been fortunate.
Yeah.
You've been very fortunate, and I love that you're moving in the direction that you're moving. You didn't get spared for no reason, you know. So we give credit where credit's due, but we also give credit to ourselves because you do the work as well.
Thank you.
So that's awesome. Wow, what a story. What a story, Bree. And so as we're wrapping up to get ready to close the episode, are there any nuggets that you would like to share out there? Maybe somebody who's, you know, battling, who wants out, you know, anything?
Yeah, so there are resources out there. Even if you are unsure or you're not ready and you're just curious, you know, reach out just to validify that those resources are there when you are ready. We all need to find our own path and begin our own journey in our own time.
Ooh, pin that.
Trying to force anything, a relationship, ponytail, right? You know, trying to force your car while parallel parking, right? Forcing situations and circumstances is never the right way to go. So
Pin that.
move at your own time and where you're comfortable at. And if you're not ready, that's okay.
Ooh, that's good.
Right? It's okay. Be comfortable in where you are. And what's another nugget? There's so many.
Yeah, I can imagine. And you know what? This doesn't have to be the first and only time that you're on the show. And so I welcome you to come back. You know, I really do. I welcome you to come back because sometimes when people leave, they're like, I should have said this or I should have said that. You know, pin it in your phone or something like that. I definitely will have you back on it. And I may even have a session where both you and your husband are on together. If you're okay with that, we'll have it together, and then then we get the full vision, right? So the nuggets that you have left and dropped are rich, fulfilling, and so thank you so very much. Wow, and you keep striving, you keep doing great things, you keep your head up. And like I said, the health challenges that you're facing against, you're not facing them alone. We serve a good God, and He is taking care of you. So, thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate you. And so we'll talk again.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.